This is the way the conversation would begin, depending on who made the call. When I called Charlie, when he picked up, I would say, Charlie King, and he would respond, JW. That's how our conversations have begun for more than years than I recall. I'll leave a lot of narrative capital on the table today because there's just not enough time for me to say all that I like to say. If you were to look in the dictionary under the name friend, you would find Charlie King's name there. If you were to look in the dictionary under the word loyal, you would find Charlie King's name there. If you were to look in the dictionary under the name generous, Charlie King's name would be there. If you would look in the dictionary at the word patient, Charlie King's name would not be there. Charlie and I knew one another's foibles, but we accepted that each other as we were, as friends, and as friends should do. One of the most recent memorable occasions was a couple of months ago when Connie and Charlie got together and called Willeen and myself after we had celebrated our 56th wedding anniversary. They offered congratulations to me and sympathy to Willeen. We shared some very good times together as we shared that moment with them. Whenever I think about Charlie, I recall on a Sunday morning early in the days when we began our work here at this location. We were about to close the service when Charlie came down the aisle, moving his membership from his home church in Tennessee to the local church. Charlie has been many things to me, many kinds of relationships that I could describe, but the one that most describes our relationship is the word friend. Each time we had our conversations, they generally followed the same pattern. We would inquire how each was doing, and we would share a little time talking about that. Then we would begin to talk about how blessed we are with our families, and particularly our companions. And I would quickly say to him, yeah, Charlie, you married way above yourself. And he would quickly remind me how I did the same. Connie, let me say how blessed I am to have witnessed your loving care of Charlie through these extended 8 years of life where it has been a challenge for him as well as for yourself. But it has been your example of doing that has been an inspiration to both Willeen and myself as we have observed how lovingly you have cared for him. In my last text with Connie last week, she said, I'm praying the prayer that never fails, and that is the prayer, thy will be done. And God's will has been done, and we celebrate all the extended time that we've had with Charlie. As I listen tomorrow as this service is conducted, I'll be also looking to the pastors of this church for comfort, which I know they will give each of us. But then when we gather at our house on Sunday, we will be celebrating the name Charlie King, because Charlie King has been a hero to our family for many years. It was during about this time of the year when it was hot and almost unbearable that we got up on Sunday morning with all of our family gathered together, trying to get everything together so we could come to church, and our air conditioning was out. Well, I mentioned that when we got to church on Sunday, and Charlie could hardly wait until the service was over so that he could come to our house with his tools and repair our air conditioner. By the time I got home, Charlie already had found the problem and was repairing the problem. And when the house began to cool down, you can bet our family began to celebrate because of what Charlie had done. Charlie and Connie and the family have invested their life in this community. And it's because of that that we come as a friend. Willene and I both offer our condolences to you, Connie, and to each member of this family. And we want you to know how much we love you and how much you have been a blessing to us through the years. Charlie was never able to openly say, I love you, but after I told a story about me and my siblings who also had difficulty in doing that very word, saying that very word, because there were so many of us in the house, we had very little room. We were running over one another, and seldom did we ever say verbally as we were growing up, I love you. However, the closest we came was to say, I want you to know how much I appreciate you. Well, I knew when that word was spoken by my siblings, it was a word of saying, I love you. Well, when I told that story, afterwards, it wasn't long after that I told that story that Charlie looked at me one day and he said, I want you to know I appreciate you. Well, I want to say to you as a family that we appreciate you for all that you have invested in our life, and we pray God's blessings upon you as you manage the grief that you'll have to care for in the days to come. I'll leave you the word with the words of the psalmist who said, weeping endures for the night, but joy comes in the morning.